Listen up, basketball fans. It's time for the NBA Debates Podcast, a production of KMSU TV and radio. Stay up to date with all the latest in NBA news and controversy. Welcome to the NBA Debates Podcast with your host, Cole Clementich, joined by Caleb Blaze and Braden Byers. Here is NBA Debates. Debates podcast brought to you by KMSU TV and radio. I am your host, Cole Clementich, junior in the professional communication department, joined alongside these fellow lovely gentlemen here. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Braden Byers. I'm a freshman in the professional communication department.
And I'm Caleb Blaze, also a freshman in the communications department, and I'm more here for moral support. I don't know as much as these two guys, but we'll vibe with it.
Yep. Anyways, yeah, look at you two freshies coming along here. I'm kidding. But anyways, so NBA debates, this is what we're going to be focusing on here today. So we're just kind of be a little controversial in a way here today. So, I got Braden and Caleb join along. Are you good there, Braden?
Yeah. It fell apart.
It fell apart? Okay. Oh, dang, that's tough.
Came back to life, though. It's all good.
But yeah, folks, again, we are sponsored by KMSU TV and radio. Yeah, let's get this show on the road. So, NBA debates. Caleb, we'll start with you first, and I guess we can kind of go around the room here a little bit. I know you've been kind of a little against this idea of the super teams and what LeBron James is doing. Let's start off with some fire here. What do you think?
Hot takes, LeBron broke the NBA. No. Okay, hear me out, though. Back in the day, I'm talking, from the beginning of the league up until, I would say, the late 90s, even the early 2000s, right? The NBA was more about the team, right? You were, like, a Bulls fan. You were a Heat fan. You were a Nuggets fan. You were a team fan. And then, the concept of, the star player really came into fruition. I mean, sure, all along you had, your star players, but they were really stars because they worked well with their teams, right? But now, nowadays, in, this current, NBA climate, you more have, oh, I'm a LeBron fan, or, oh, I'm a Steph Curry fan, or I'm a KD fan. And it's people aren't building teams around teams anymore. They're building teams around players, and they're just trying to stack these super players in these teams. And it's just I don't know. I think the NBA kind of lost its soul when that started to happen. What do you guys think?
I'll let you go first, Braden.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the fact that it kind of switched more from being a team fan to more player fan. People follow the players wherever they are. I've seen people follow LeBron from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, and then LA now, just rooting for the team that he's on no matter what.
See, that actually, believe it or not, that used to be me when I was a kid, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I actually followed LeBron from, the Cavs to the Heat to the Cavs again, and then I kind of just, realized how stupid that was and kind of stepped back as a whole. I'm like, this is kind of not what basketball is about, or the NBA, rather, or not what it should be about. But I actually fell into that, team follow bandwagon for a while.
Well, if you guys don't mind, I will chime in on this subject here. Me being a Nuggets fan myself, I think I like where your head's at. I understand that LeBron, it feels like the modern age of super teams it's kind of an unhealthy look for the league. And so I agree in a way with you guys there. And so I think personally, and I think Braden can attest to this too, you're also a Nuggets fan, right, Braden?
Yep.
Yeah, when we faced LeBron and the Lakers in the playoffs, we were just outmatched. That's obviously, nothing to complain about. That's just one series. But if it gets to be, a series from here on out, if it's constant Nuggets-Lakers, obviously that may not happen. We'd like it to. But if LeBron continues to add, and who knows, we may not even know how well they do this year, because they got a bunch of these guys that the Lakers are essentially becoming a retirement home for these players for how old most of them are already. So, but if it gets to be, LeBron just wants to add on superstar upon superstar upon superstar, it really hurts the parity of the league. And me being a Nuggets fan, you see it there, Braden. Michael Malone really approaching the team identity just the team game, and whereas the rest of the league is just superstars. I understand we have Jokic. I understand we have Jamal Murray. Yeah, we have a budding young star in Michael Porter Jr., getting the max contract this past offseason. Excuse me, but it's an unhealthy look for the league, and it's really trickled down. It's a trickle-down effect. The dominoes have fallen, and it really started with LeBron. Although I will say this also, that there is an argument to be had on the other side that super teams, I'm pretty sure, there were kind of pretty common back in the day with Jordan, Pippen, and some of the other dudes running the show there. But I don't think it's an old concept. It feels normalized in today's age, but I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that?
On that, like people will often bring up like how, the Bulls back then were kind of like the super team, but they were kind of the first, and they actually were low-key kind of frowned upon for doing it, and it never like got held as like a staple like it is nowadays. Like, just think of like a few years back, like there's like a stretch of like 2-3 seasons where it was like, I wonder if the Cavs or Golden State are gonna win the finals this year. You know what I mean?
You make a great point there. Yeah,
it's
I
like
forgot to mention that
it's
too.
become more of like a thing where it's like, oh well, I know it's gonna be this team, and everybody else be damned. You know what I mean? Sorry, but it's just like it's more become of a it's kind of taken away all of the like splendor that the league used to have, because it was more like, hey, I'm a this fan and you're a this fan, and we have almost equal chances of making it to the finals this year. You know what I mean? Now it's just like, if you're not a Lakers fan, or I suppose I don't even know who's like really looking strong in the East this upcoming season here, but you know what I mean? It's like It's kind of like, if you're not one of those two teams fans, it's like, why
It
do you
feels
even watch?
weird to not be a fan of one of those
Yeah,
teams.
why do you
Yes.
even watch if you're
Yeah.
not one of those fans? It's starting to happen. It's not just in the NBA anymore. It's kind of spreading out. It's becoming more of a precedent, less of
It's
an
a
outlier.
it's a star-driven league now, and more often than ever, fans are just becoming they're just the LeBron journeyman people. So they're just following what he does, and I mean, can you really blame them if they're a fan of, if they don't have any roots for a team? Like, can you really blame them? Like, they really support LeBron James? Is there anything to be had, Braden?
I mean, like, yeah, I feel there are arguments to following, like, one specific player around. Like, maybe if you are from the Ohio area where LeBron is from, maybe you, like, know his family or something like that, and so you're a huge LeBron stan. But then, of course, you also could have ties to the Cavaliers, just as a rule, just being from the Ohio area. I mean, my family is from the Colorado area. That's why I'm a Nuggets fan. I'm not actually from there, but there's still a specific concrete reason of why I am. My dad has been for his whole life, so I just kind of picked up on that. And then, like, going back to the whole idea of super teams being brought up a while back. Back in 2009, I do believe, it was the Lakers and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, and since then the Nuggets kind of dropped off. But now they're kind of getting back into it because of their homegrown players. A bunch of the players that they have starting, they've drafted themselves and built them up to be where they are now, instead of just trading and trying to get the big ticket names to Denver.
Yeah, big reason, like you said there. They're going out there and just, what was the thing that the one Lakers fan said? Fire everybody, bring in the best players. That's essentially what they did. But they just went out and got their players. They didn't really draft and develop, draft picks. I mean, ask the Oklahoma City Thunder. They'll probably disagree with this, but draft picks are probably a thing of the past now in the NBA. But they still have value according to the Thunder. So, but Caleb, Braden, good stuff here on the super teams. Got anything else maybe you want to discuss?
I guess there's one more thing I could touch on, because you just like bringing up drafts and stuff. I just realized this. With this whole like advent of the super teams, getting to be like a rookie player who gets drafted now, it's kind of really tough, isn't it? It's like, You're almost not worth anything anymore, because if you're not like one of these big ticket names, like nobody almost wants to look at you.
Yeah, you kind of got to make a name for yourself, pretty much.
Yeah, you got to become one of the super players, or else you're always going to be a bench warmer, because there are so many like big names. You know, like the people who get put on the the face of the 2K posters. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of it's a different looking league. Hopefully, it's going to like break down and change soon, but I think we have a few years left of Super League or Super Team leagues.
Sweet.
Yeah, like I know with that thing, like I am a culprit of this myself. I just look at the top few prospects of a draft, and I don't even look through it. And the draft to me isn't a big deal anymore, and I kind of feel bad about that being an NBA fan. But then like the NFL draft, I could sit and watch the whole thing because I just know these players. But in the NBA, it's just they don't get as much hype as anybody else.
But that's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's definitely a different age or different era of NBA basketball, but it's currently what we have to deal with. And so, I mean, we'll see. Maybe, like last year, we've seen crazy things happen. Obviously, it was a subject to, what was it? This is the 4th season now in 2 years, because they had the break in between, I guess, I don't know what you call it, the COVID, when COVID hit and they had to have that break. They came back into the bubble, and then just another quick season right after that. And
it is crazy. I just saw, I think today was the 1-year anniversary of the Lakers winning that championship, and there's already been another champion since then.
And we're approaching either the 3rd or 4th season now in that time span. And we've seen things happen like this playoffs this year. Players do get injured, and that's big reason why we saw Suns and Bucks in the finals. So, but yeah, that should be interesting to see what comes about with this upcoming season. We could likely see Lakers Nets or something in that neighborhood. Yeah, it would just be daunting or even egregious to think that injuries could really pile on up again. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen before, but we won't know what the NBA makeup is, or the outlook of it will be come playoff time. Who knows? Maybe the Lakers are in 5th place by the time playoffs start. So who knows? Or the 5th seed, whatever. But yeah, that's about it for the super team subject. Is there anything else you guys want to mention?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Teams are becoming nursing homes. Final hot take. We don't have to elaborate.
One more thing, guys. This is for my buddy out at he's from here, but he goes to University of North Dakota right now. Sam, if you are going to listen to this at some point, just know my take: Ben Simmons is overpaid.
Yes.
Anything to add, boys?
I agree.
I don't have much to say.
Yep. Well, we'll end with that. Ben Simmons is overpaid until we can figure out his shooting. But yeah, there you have it. Well, boys, thank you for being on today. Great topic to begin the NBA debates podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, hopefully we can maybe turn this into a little series. Who knows? But yeah, that is going to be it. Once again, guys, I am Cole Clementich, Jr. in the Professional Communication Department. Thanks to my 2 guests.
Yeah, Caleb Blaze over here.
Braden Byers.
Yeah, Braden, Caleb, right next to me. Caleb on one side, Braden on the other. Thank you, boys. That is all we have today on the Daily NBA Debates podcast. We'll be right back for more. But don't go anywhere, folks. You're listening to NBA Debates, brought to you by KMSU TV and Radio. Remember, follow us on social media, KMSU TV and Radio on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to YouTube. Check out all of our content there. That is it, folks. Thank you for listening.